Last time on the misadventures of Corinthal with our three.
Last time on the misadventures of Corinthal.
We learned that, well, for one thing, most of Lisa's family thinks
I'm shit.
Yes, that is true. Also, that something might be going on. Or maybe not. You don't know.
Wait, what?
Something may or may not be going on. They might have plans for you. They might not. You don't know.
Oh, that's scary on a bunch of levels right now.
Anyways, none of you really know what to do. You're all in the capital of the kingdom, my Tyrell. None of you have really kept up with current events as of late. And also, since you don't really know the date, none of you are certain of any important, even if you did know of events, which Raynor, you wouldn't to begin with. Necro, you probably wouldn't. Elizabeth, you probably wouldn't care. Jing, you might know, but you're not sure given that it's rather late. Or that it's rather, you haven't been on the surface in a while and you don't know the date really well. And you're also taking care of your kid / sister / adopted sibling. You
just say our ward. That's the overall term, I think.
Ward implies you're training her for something.
Ward of the state. What does that mean? Are they not using that word right then? Yeah,
let's just go with +1. Because goddammit, that's the best term I can think of. Anyways, you're rest, and we really need to just write down the name of her.
Lucy?
Yeah, okay, I'm adding it.
Oh yeah, I should add that to my notes. Oh wait, no, I already did. Also, you never sent me the whispers again.
My bad. I'll send them to you tonight.
Thank you.
After this. I'm literally just writing her down in names as Drow Daughter because that is the best thing I can remember about. Anyways. So, to bring you back into it, another day has dawned. And for once, all of you seem to instinctively jolt awake, almost expecting something horrible to greet you. Instead, you're greeted by peace. Sounds of exotic birds calling to each other in the morning, in the hours of the morning. Jing, you're accompanied by the soft snoring Lucy is giving off in the bed. Raynor, you hear, since your room is relatively closer to the kitchen, you hear the bustling of servants, cooks, all sorts of personnel just getting ready for the day with meals and such.
What time is it?
You check your watch. It's about 4 in the morning. And surprisingly, you can already see the peaks of sunrise. Well, you know this quite well, but around summer, the sun doesn't stay down for long, especially not in this kingdom. It's something that's completely foreign to this kingdom, completely unique to this kingdom that the other two don't ever deal with.
That's odd, considering they're on the same continent.
You don't know, but your elders claimed it to be some remnants of the Planar War and Sendra's specific involvement in this area. Supposedly in an attempt to try and ensure that this landmass would never fall under the sway of the dark gods again, she attempted to bless it with eternal light until Corton realized the havoc this would cause and limited it. As such, light shines upon this land much more often than the other parts.
Is that the reason there's a giant desert?
No one knows.
Because it
Well-
sounds like that's the reason for a giant desert.
You don't know. You can look into it. All I can say is that the lands have been like this long before the gods got involved with anything. But perhaps the world was not changed because of the gods, but rather its features were simply exacerbated because of it. Regardless,
Oh, that's a $10 word.
Exacerbated.
inflamed, exaggerated, more pronounced. Take your pick.
Oh.
Regardless, the point is, the gods did not specifically influence the biomes of this world. Rather, their involvement in the planar war merely made them more intense. Where once a slight prairie or dry land was, now sprawling deserts.
Yeah, that means she's gonna get in the
Moving
church.
on. Rainer, as your thoughts of the elders' teachings and ramblings flits through your mind, the smell of cooked food, very well cooked food, suddenly fills your nostrils.
I would hope so. I'm right next to the kitchen.
Not right next, but fairly close. Regardless, do you want to wait till someone comes to get you, or do you just want to try and sneak into the kitchen to grab something?
Well, after being remembering himself of how frustrated he was last night, he's just gonna start one hand. You know that exercise where a guy just handstands on one hand and does push-ups? He's doing that.
Wow.
He wants to get his mind.
Roll me a
off of-
strength check.
Strength to lift me up? I thought that'd be dexterity to keep me balanced.
Roll me one of both.
One of
Because
both?
it's both dexterity to keep balance and strength just to have one arm support your entire body weight.
Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. That's worse.
Okay, so you managed to get about 10 in, and it takes... Usually this isn't an exercise you often do. It's more one you did sparingly or just to impress other people in your own village. So you've never done this to actually try and build muscle. It's wobbly and very painstakingly slow. But you managed to get in a few good sets before the door. You hear a knock on the door, and then it opens as a maid pokes her head in, and you immediately lose your composure and fall flat on your face.
Had to be a maid, huh?
That's what happens when you roll low.
That
But-
had nothing to do with. I'm not arguing.
Not argue with a god, my friend. But regardless, you make quite a big racket as you face plant. You're not going to take damage because it wasn't that fall. It was barely a fall. It was more just a couple inches. But it still hurt a bit. Your face is a bit sore. Didn't break anything. But the maid does tell you that breakfast is ready, and tells you that it is in the same dining room as before. And do you go, or do you try and regain your composure by doing more of these?
I am going to, I guess, follow her. I assume I don't have to wear a suit and tie again.
She doesn't say anything.
Just go in my normal.
Well,
attire
wait.
then. Wait.
Yeah, did you actually get dressed, or
Well, I assumed I was.
given
because
your
I'm doing the
background?
workout.
Yeah, no, given your background, I have to ask this stuff because
No, that's a good point. I'd had just my pants on, so I'll get dressed and follow her.
I was gonna say, are you just going in there shirtless? Remember, man, Lisa.
Also, freaking butler monk could kick my ass if I did that. That's what I'm calling him, badass butler.
Or Reginald, his actual name.
Reggie.
Yeah. But like for
Do it.
comparison,
I dare you to call him that. I dare you to call him that to his face. I want to see this.
Okay, so you
This
do
has to
eventually show up for
happen.
breakfast, and Lisa is not there. And just for sake of sanity, it's about you managed to do that routine for about 2 hours, so it's about 6 by now, 6:30. And Jing and Elizabeth, both of you woke up eventually at a much. Both woke up at around 6 and were mostly mulling around. Jing, you eventually managed to rouse Lucy from her sleep. The thing with Drowse is they don't have a set sleep schedule, and she's currently trying to set one for herself, so she's going to be out of it for a few days right now because she's got like really messy bedhead. Her eyes are like barely focused on anything. She's just like lazily wandering around.
Looks like somebody has a hangover.
Worse because her hair, which until now you hadn't noticed was actually kept in like a small ponytail braid hybrid, is now like fully out. It extends almost all the way down to her feet. And it is just everywhere. Right now she is essentially a moving ball of hair.
Cousin It.
Which you occasionally see a small, dark-skinned arm lunge out of.
Well, I'm not going to have nightmares at all.
Eventually you all, Elizabeth, you do get a slight... Would you be scared or find it funny to see essentially a small Cousin It appear from Jing's room?
Fine.
Yeah, no, you get like a quick chuckle from seeing Lucy, from Lucy's appearance. But eventually all of you work your way down. Jing and Elizabeth, you both notice
jacket and stuff upstairs.
Rainer's face looks a bit red for some reason. And not like blushing or anything, just a general like bruising red. But
Did he
there's
punch you in the face again?
I was doing morning exercises and I slipped.
Sure you did.
But you all eat your meal. And you notice seems to be the meal the servants eat because the table that was set is much larger, and it seems to have seats for almost every servant in the house, and there is a good number of them. None of you really can get a good head count at the moment, unless you actively want to try. But
perception check.
Holy fuck.
How many are they, bitch?
There are exactly 87 servants along with you.
Crap, really?
Yeah, not Beauty and the Beast levels, but damn if they're getting close.
Now to mourn that lost nat 20 I just used.
It will gladly serve alongside its brethren in Valhalla. Okay, so being that, there's a good portion. A majority of them seem to be groundskeepers, maids, butlers. Well, no, not maids. Yeah, it's groundkeepers, cooks, and mostly just people that seem to. They're pretty much the people that make everything on the outside and the inner functions work well. There's about 30 butlers and maids evenly split. You do notice that it also seems that there's a small portion of them that are much older individuals. The hair is starting to gray, but their features they still look relatively good for presumably older individuals, but the larger portion are younger. You guess this isn't some weird taste, but rather just they are bringing in younger help that will last for the next generation.
Is this a mix of elves, half-elves, humans?
It's a mixture of races. Most of them, you spot one or two dwarves among them, but they mostly seem to be among the groundskeepers. For the most part, it's taller races. You even see 2 Goliaths. They seem to be butlers.
You fucking kidding me, really?
No,
I need that
Goliaths
art.
wearing.
I need that art.
I am sadly a horrible artist, but no, it's literally 2 Goliaths wearing full butler suits.
Someone has to
I
have drawn
approve
that.
of this. I approve of this. They've got to have Grog in like a butler suit or something.
I know, right?
They have him in the German barmaid outfit. But yeah, no, it's a colorful cast of individuals. But yeah, breakfast is served, but it's only it's a short one. It lasts till about Rainer. You check your watch. It lasts till 7:15. Then it seems almost as a sort of unspoken timer. All the servants start getting up, cleaning their places, and rearranging the tables. They politely ask you to finish up eating and move out because they have to prepare breakfast for
Are there any clocks in this room?
There is one. It is an
Okay, I
old
was about to say,
grandfather
how
clock.
the fuck do they know at 7:15 it's time? Breakfast is over.
Some of them just have served so long it's kind of become ingrained. But yes, there is one larger grandfather clock that was dutifully reset. And Rainer, you noticed this coming in, that one of the butlers was resetting the clock to make sure that it kept running. But you guess that after this point they have to start getting things ready for those
actual breakfast.
For the fancier breakfast. And considering that most of the stuff is food, besides Jing, well, Elizabeth might have seen it, but Rainer, this is the fanciest breakfast you've ever seen, because it has like pastries, like bakery goods, basically like the whole 9 yards, and all of it was cooked.
Like
but then there's
20 minutes ago.
Pretty much. But yeah, you're all sequestered out and back to your rooms. Reginald does visit each of you. Rainer visits you last, but
Of course
Jing, he hands you 2 passes. Elizabeth, he hands you 1. And Rainer, he hands you 1 as well, along with a steely, condescending look of... It's shifted from pure hatred to uncertainty. And uncertainty in the sense of, I'm not sure if I should kick your ass or give you a pat on the back and the dad talk. He's on the fence about you.
What are these passes he's hanging us?
He explains, he gathers you all in the main foyer after he hands them out, and explains that these are passes that allow you entrance to what is known as the Gilded District. Basically, it's the upper echelon of of this city's entire... It's essentially the noble district. It allows you access to it, present these to the guards, and they'll let you in. Lose them, and you're screwed, because they're not giving you another one, unless you buy it. And those things get pricey. But basically, this will allow you...
Dare to ask, how much would it be to replace if we lose it?
The pass itself, about 50 gold. Registration and the paperwork required to officiate that pass, 3,000 gold per.
Wow, that's a lot of gold.
Yeah, no. They take security very seriously. He also mentions that there are a number of marketplaces and other such establishments scattered throughout the Gilded District that serve to the higher echelons of clientele, basically. So pretty much if you go there, don't make a stink of the place, or else the guards might try to remove you. He also does encourage you to visit the lower echelons, as he puts it. It might be, and he looks at you, Rainer, good to mix with the locals of the city, just to get a feel for the new environment. Jing, he does tell you of a rather well-to-do winery in the area that sells a variety of alcoholic beverages from all 3 kingdoms. Elizabeth, he tells you of a...
Which kingdom is my family's house in?
Let me see.
Yeah, I was
The
about to say, shouldn't you
Nightingales-
have one of these tickets for your family's house?
I mean, I am from Montreal, but I don't know if they settled down here or in the other end of the continent. Because I never
The
thought that far ahead.
Nightingales. Yeah, no. The Nightingales settled down on the Nightingales being in mainly sea trader based family settled in City 19 here. They don't currently have a house, but before you left, you did overhear conversations of them attempting to buy a property within the capital. You don't know if they managed to succeed in doing so, and you'd have to look into it, but it's quite possible you could visit some family living here.
Hey, Reggie. Do
Possibly.
you know if there's any Nightingales around here?
He, Reggie strokes the mustache contemplatively.
I show him my papers of pedigree.
This symbol does look familiar, though I'm not that familiar with. Though I have been gone for quite a time, so I wouldn't know. I'm certain before I left that they were not here, but perhaps they purchased a residence here recently. The symbol does look familiar. Perhaps they have a trading agreement with one of the more well-to-do families. Ask around the district. You might learn something.
Yay.
But he does give you the winery and mostly says, I've heard that their specialty brews are rather potent. Gives you sort of a knowing glance. But Elizabeth, he does tell you of a small group of your kind that frequents one of the lower district's marketplaces. It seems they're rather common there, but he tells you this probably because he hasn't seen many of your kind, and he figures it's probably best to make sure if you know about them. And Rainer, he doesn't give you any tips. He just says, wander to your heart's content.
Okay.
I ask that you are here back at the house by 6 p.m. Until then, you are free to wander the capital.
I try to ask Reginald a question. Are weapons allowed within the capital?
You're allowed to carry them, don't brandish them. Especially not in the Gilded District.
Okay.
And Elizabeth, he gives you a particularly harrowing stare at that last statement.
Should I hide my claws?
No, just, again, I don't know how much experience you have with those of the upper crusts of society, but they get skittish in violent situations.
Out of character, aren't you two members of that upper class of society?
I was kicked out when I was 10.
And Jing's sort of his own guy. He's kind of the oddball of his family.
The black sheep.
Yeah, my
Essentially.
dad's like the bard. My mom is, well, we'll not get into that. And my sister's a paladin, so...
Yeah, his family is a little unorthodox.
Let's just hope she's not here, because that's a long-ass conversation I don't want to have.
Yeah, that'll be a backstory he can share, but probably won't anytime soon. Anyways, you're essentially kicked out of the house for the day.
I am both relieved and both terrified of what we're going to find when we come back.
All right. So you have an entire day to essentially wander. Keep in mind that attempting to traverse the entirety of the capital city in under, about a little less than 12 hours is next to impossible if you intend to actually take in any of the sites. Running at a breakneck pace, you'd probably be able to cut it in close, but just barely. So, if you have a general idea of what you want to try and find, tell me. I'll tell you to roll a certain thing, and we'll see the results.
I want to try to find like a magic guy in the lower section.
Okay, so firstly, you do travel to the lower, as it's called, the Iron District.
What's the middle district called?
The Middle District is known as the Silk District. It's essentially the major marketplace of the entire city. As you travel through, you notice there is a distinct lack of houses and more shop fronts, bizarre type marketplaces, and it's essentially the entirety of the economic portion of the capital squeezed into an entire layer. Because there are the occasional shops and taverns and bars that you see scattered throughout the other districts, but here it's essentially you can't throw a stone without finding something that's trying to sell you something. But yeah. So you make your way to the Iron District, and it's... Well, actually, why would you want to find the magic? To try and sell something, or do you...
Two specific things. One, I'm going to see how much this this apparently thing that can be used as a what's it called?
Magic detection.
That's one thing. That's the other thing. The first thing I want to check out is see if anything about that magic core shard and that a thing that can be made into like a wizard's it was the green thing from
arcane
Heavy
focus.
Spear.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that would take you to the Silken District. Silk or Silken District, because roll an investigation check. Okay, it requires you to ask around a bit, but you are pointed to a magic shop, and it is similar to the style. It doesn't actually have a door, it just has like a silk. It just has like a...
So we're in downtown Hyderabad right now.
Pretty much. Because the building looks very much in the architectural style of Misadventures. It's a stone building. Windows are just open holes cut in it. The roof starts out at a shallow slope that quickly goes into a conical point, and the door is more just a beaded curtain. As you walk in,
see a flamboyant 8.
No.
You knew what I was about to say, huh?
Because you tried to pull this shit back in the first attempt of this campaign. But it is actually... It's a rather well-tanned gnome manning the front desk. He has a beard. He has a wispy white beard that's pretty well groomed. And he turns around and he has these big fish-eyed spectacles that almost enlarge in his eyes slightly. Yes. What do you want?
Well, I was hoping you could help me with these, and I put all 3 of the items on his table. Counter?
Yeah, it's a countertop.
Yeah, counter.
It's like a nice. It's a wooden countertop. Yeah. Oh, where'd you get these?
Well, the shard and the green gem I found in a underground ruin, and this little orb was a reward for a job, which I'm starting to think might have tried to screw me on.
He sort of raises an eyebrow at the last one, but then quickly waves away as just adventure shenanigans. Well, first off, he picks up the orb.
Which orb?
What was the third object? The job reward?
The magic detection orb.
Yeah. What was this intended for?
Magic detection.
He clasps his hands over it, and you hear this sort of almost less than... It's not so much talk, it's not so much speech as more an utterance of sounds and different tonations that you don't think should be muttered by any kind of sentient being. It's more a series of clicks, whistles, and churning noises that almost come from him. But his hands glow slightly as he seems to be deeply focusing on the object. Well, it does detect magic. It does detect magic, so...
Nothing else strange about it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
But as for these two, and he picks up the focus crystal. It's unprocessed.
Is that good or bad?
Depends on what you intend to do with it. What do you intend to do with it?
I intend to sell it. I cannot do magic.
Well, in this form, it's basically worthless. It's unrefined, and the process to refine it into a usable substance is rather pricey. Most wizards or other people of the arcane practice much rather purchase it in a form that they can simply use right away.
Is there any benefit to making it themselves?
Not really. Well, unless you consider the feeling of achievement from making your own ingredients for magic components, but not many find that to be something they are very concerned with.
That's very odd. I found it in a puzzle sphere. It was the prize.
Show me the sphere.
Well, it was a sphere made of these...
Show me the sphere.
I pull out the iron bars.
He immediately snatches it away and just starts looking at it. He immediately snatches them away and just starts... Well, this... I've not seen one of these in a long time. It's a child's puzzle box. Well, puzzle sphere. It was essentially an ancient toy.
You got that from the bars?
You'd be surprised with how long I've been around in this business. You've seen some odd things. But it wouldn't surprise me that someone would put one of these in here. And he breaks off a small piece of it, which surprisingly the material is actually quite brittle and easy to break. You never knew this before because you never tried. He holds it over a flame and the thing almost immediately changes color to a bright orange, then it shifts to red. It almost seems to be burning itself. Then he tosses up to the air, then he clenches his fist around it and he just like tosses it up to the air and it bursts into a small explosion. It's a rather impressive elemental conductor. Not any good for damaging attacks, but more just for party tricks.
Ah.
So if you wanted to sell it in that respect, I could actually give you quite a fair price.
Oh? What would that price be? He said, oh, I'm sorry.
No. Well, he mulls it over and then takes out a small scale, sets it down, and close and gently sets the remaining material down on it. He pulls out a small book, opens it. 50 gold.
Okay.
Why?
You get 50 gold. As for this, I'm sorry, but it's next to useless.
Oh, someone told me it was a magic core, whatever that is.
Part of one. Without the rest, it's, again, useless.
Okay, thank you. Oh, while I'm here, can you... I've been having the hardest time figuring out what the heck these say and what language this is. I hold them the dice.
We ended up spending with the added room.
They're dice. These are numbers.
60 grand on the renovation. You add those together, you're just...
Yes, I understood that, but what language are these numbers written in?
You ready?
He
All right, let's do this, baby.
adjusts his spectacles slightly, and you swear for a second they almost glow,
Check out your picture effort.
but it,
Yes. All right, let's see it.
dwarven.
Bran, I can read Dwarven.
Well, it's an ancient offshoot. Never practiced.
So it's freaking the Dwarven equivalent of Latin.
Basically, yeah. If you concentrated, you would have figured that out, but
Crying out loud. Thank you for your thank you for indulging my curiosity. What is it that you sell here?
potions.
Oh, what kind of
If you want to, virtually anything. I can even make a potion if you want me to. If you can provide the right, if you can meet the right cost, that is.
Well, I've been getting knocked down very easily lately. Do you have a potion that can heal? Or do you have potions of healing? I guess.
Yes. And he reaches under the table. He actually snaps his fingers, and a small tray floats up and sets down gently on the counter. And he holds countless vials and small potion bottles containing a vibrant red liquid. It's a vibrant red liquid, and you've seen these enough times to know healing potions of different strengths and potency.
Ooh, that's a lot of bottles.
Yeah, it's about, just on an off count, about 20 potions.
You'll have to excuse my ignorance. I'm still learning about the magic tiers. Like, he's saying tiers is that the right way of saying it?
Tiers as in like different levels of the potion?
Yes.
Yes, that would be the right way to say it.
No, Rainer is saying it quizzically to the...
Yes, actually.
How many of the lowest tier do you have, and how much are they?
On new Safa and this season's hottest gifts. Now for Overstock.com's Cyber Monday sale.
He's looking and...
Yes.
And he takes out a small ledger, actually. 10 basic potions of healing, 5 potions of, and 10 of greater.
Again, forgive my Actually, this is a good question. How would he ask the difference? Because I know the difference, but how would he ask it? I don't know.
New landscape, new grass.
Trying to role play here.
I know. Rainer wouldn't know. He just asked, "What's the difference?"
What is the difference between the strength, I guess, to the potions?
He looks and then takes out one. It's a small vial. Greater. Drink this, and essentially, say for instance you have a hole in your stomach, this will make it like it was never there. He sets that down, takes out one of the bottles, and takes out one of the more almost spherical bottles. This will allow you to shrug off minor scratches and cuts. Not for anything serious, but it'll do in a pinch.
Oh, okay. How much are the scratches one? The basic potions of healing.
Those are 50 gold apiece.
And you said you had 10 of them?
Yes.
Okay. How much is one greater potion of healing?
Correct terminology, and 100 per.
Ooh. Okay, I will buy 10 basic and 1 greater. And I put down 600 gold, which I think that's the right math. Is it?
Yes, that is the right math. Yep, that's right math. But I was pulling up a sheet where I did it, and it was a thing. It does not help that I immediately saw Filter of Love right next to it. Filter of Love. It's D&D's equivalency of the love potion. Filter of Love. The next time you see a creature within 10 minutes after drinking this filter, you become charmed by that creature for the 1 hour. If the creature is of a species and gender you are normally attracted to, you regard it as your true love while you are charmed. There is, let me remind you, this has no saving throw.
Would that count as being charmed, though?
I think it bypasses.
It bypasses racial abilities.
And also it isn't it that elves are resistant to charm. But here's the kicker: there's no saving throw associated with this potion.
How long does that?
It lasts 1 hour.
Ooh, that's enough time to cause someone real trouble. Jeez.
Yeah, no. Fun fact: this was used in Critical Role on Scanlan.
I don't remember this. When did that happen?
It was towards the end. Just after this, and he fell in love with Percy.
Oh my god, yeah. I remember that. I'm not buying that.
He didn't offer it.
I know.
But the gnome does. Actually, there might be something else you'll be interested in. And he pulls out 2 potions. One is 1 second. It's in the same bottle that the regular potions of healing were, except the liquid is a almost royal blue color, and there's a small piece, and it seems to be bubbling slightly. This will give your body temporary fortitude.
What do y'all think about the checker pattern floors? I love them.
Out of game terms.
Potion of Heroism. For 1 hour after drinking it, you gain 10 temporary hit points that last for 1 hour. For the same duration, you are under the effect of the Bless spell. No concentration.
Ooh.
It's a bit more pricey, but... Sorry. You just hear a dog.
In the streets.
No, in the building. Pet. It's a bit more pricey, but I feel it might suit your purposes better.
You ready to go see your room?
You said you had 2 bottles of the same thing or 2 different?
He pulls out the second one. It is...
So you guys told us we're on
It's known as...
a very own farmhouse with sliding barn doors and all.
And let's see what happens.
His farm's failing.
It is a bottle that almost seems to contain... It is a small pot, actually, and it contains
Let's go wrap this up on the porch.
a sort of oil. As he opens it and shows it to you, the oil is a blackish silver color. And
The kids have a place to run around.
it almost seems to slosh like a liquid, but when it settles, it immediately takes the feel, look, and texture of oil again.
It really does.
This will make it much harder for things to hit you.
Yeah.
Because
Again, a bit more pricey than the other things, but I think it might be well worth the cost for you, especially considering your getup and how you probably approach most forms of violent situations.
Is that a potion of grease?
It's oil of slipperiness. This sticky black unguent
Really?
is
That's an item?
thick and heavy in the container, but it flows quickly when poured. The oil can cover a medium or smaller creature, along with the equipment it's wearing and carrying. One additional vial is required for each size category above medium. Applying the oil takes 10 minutes. The affected creature then gains the effect of a freedom of movement spell for 8 hours. Alternatively, the oil can be poured on the ground as an action, where it covers a 10-foot square, duplicating the effects of the grease spell in that area for 8 hours.
Those both sound very useful, but how much do they cost? Looking squeamishly.
For you, since you honestly have brought quite a few interesting things to me, I'll give you a discount. 200 for each. And trust me, my boy, that is essentially me almost giving these away.
Oh, I actually have enough. I didn't add the 50 I got for the thing.
So,
Sir, you have a deal. And I give him...
and his smile like immediately broadens, and his teeth are a startling white, despite his age. Very good, my boy. And he shakes your hand and hands you the potion in the bottle in the jar of oil. Have a pleasant day. And he bows his head slightly to you.
I bow back and leave the shop. And that is all I can probably do today, except maybe
That
some
is all
sightseeing.
you will do for today, because, well, unless you want to sightsee.
I will randomly sightsee. I have 2 gold left to my name.
Oh my god! Roll a perception check then, as you're just wandering
Hold on, I
back.
need to type in the potions.
All right, so while that's happening, Elizabeth, what do you want to do?
I need to get plate armor, so blacksmith.
All right, you eventually find your way to the Silken District. You eventually actually find your way to the Iron District, as after being pointed out, most of the forges and other smithies are usually located in this area.
I would love something, we talked about loving.
So,
I would love a house that has some historic charm to it.
roll an investigation check.
Because housing is so affordable here.
Ah,
Without even much needing to ask, you only need to ask 1 or 2 locals for general directions, but even then you start hearing the signature clanging of hammer on metal, and you can even almost smell the smoke and embers from the forges, and you're surprised to find almost an entire small section is simply devoted to smithies. Yeah, there's a lot of blacksmiths.
I did.
You find your way to one that appears to deal in armor, and it's a half-orc that's actually manning the shop. He's sort of just absentmindedly flipping through a book as you enter the shop front, and his head immediately perks up. Oh, welcome. What do you need?
I'm looking for plate armor.
She doesn't have service.
And he looks and,
Tom.
well, in most
Doesn't
cases,
have
I could
service for
probably give
anything.
you some pretty easily, but
No.
given that your body's quite a bit
She's
different,
at
we'd have to
Starbucks,
special make it.
But she can't get iMessages.
How much would it cost to get this?
Well, with the additional costs, it require a bit more just to get everything ironed out and make sure that the additions to allow full movement of your body without compromising its integrity. And he flips through the book mostly just for his own sake of records keeping. About 2,200.
And he sent us a text.
How much would this gray axe sell for?
We don't
The
usually
solid silver gray axe.
deal in weapons, but... And he actually looks at it. Is this silver?
Pure silver.
We've got a lot more space for lower cabinets and upper cabinets. Take out these uppers here to do a really cool bar top that looks into your desk.
200.
On the countertops, really cool backsplash.
200.
We'd also do all new flooring and then do a new door that leads to the backyard.
You're essentially giving me a giant block of silver that I can smelt down.
You're
But,
selling an
so...
axe to a shield maker.
You kind of overplayed it when you said master suite.
Kind
Do we have a deal?
Sorry.
What about bathroom?
Can't do that.
He hands it back.
I
Shame.
guess it is. I'll come back again when my funds raises.
Well, if you ever change your mind,
No, thanks.
have a pleasant day.
Well, time to go sightseeing.
You heading back?
Yeah,
Are you gonna sightsee or anything? Or
yeah, on the way back.
all right, roll a perception check. You notice quite a few landmarks. There's within the majority of them are actually within the Silken and Gilded districts. Within the Silken districts, you notice two rather sizable bazaars that almost seem to just be entire sections of the city within themselves. And within the Gilded district, you notice two would appear to be small parks.
Maybe he can just call the realtor, see if we can get in.
Huh.
No, I'll stay in the park for a bit.
All right, which one? There's two of them. One that's closer to the house and one that's sort of closer to the entrance.
Closer to the house.
All right, it's a small park. It seems to be sort of styled after an oasis of sorts. There's a small pool of water There's a small pool of water at the center that is surrounded by all the vegetation. But yeah, it's pleasant. You feel at ease for really the first time in a long time for you. You feel very little stress of any kind, and it's almost scary. You shake it off and quickly leave the park, hoping perhaps to find some feeling of stress and sarcasm to fill the void that was suddenly found. Jing, what are you and Lucy doing? Because let's be honest, that girl is going to be glued to your side throughout the entirety of this.
I guess we'll see if my home estate is here. So,
all right,
let's do it.
Roll an investigation check with advantage because you have very intimate knowledge about like the tastes of your family, and you'd be able to kind of describe what kind of house you'd be looking for here. So roll investigation with advantage. It takes you far goddamn longer than you like, but eventually you do find out that while it's a bit further, it's pretty far away from from the place you're currently staying. You do find that an estate has been purchased and belongs to the Nightingale family as a whole. You also found out that your mother's currently staying there.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, it appears you accidentally talked to one of the servants.
Oh no.
And you are fairly certain by the end of the day, your mom's going to know you're here too. And you apparently have a daughter?
Oh god!
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
We got to dip this in the butt. Where is it? Where is it? We have to get ahead of this quickly.
So you're just going to the estate?
Yes.
Okay.
Not telling anyone.
Yeah, this is
mean,
gonna make you a bit late, but you do go to the estate, and it's almost as if you're back at your old family's home. The style, architecture, and the just aesthetic of the entire estate, which is a 3-story building, mind you, just while a little bit smaller than the old house, it's basically like you're just standing there as well.
leave it to mom to pick the most drab place ever.
One of the servants instantly recognizes you and lets you in, though he does give Lucy a bit of a he looks at Lucy and then gives you a sort of knowing stare and a bit of a smile.
Oh my god. I'm so...
I just keep walking.
Do you head in?
Yes. I guess, yeah.
One of the maids of the house who is immediately greets you. Master Zhang, hit a cigarette? It's a pleasure to see you again. You don't recognize her, but your mother would like to speak with you.
Okay.
And she just points to one of the studies. Would you like me to look after your daughter while you talk with her, or?
No. She has to meet the family.
Jing, you're not helping the situation here.
Very well. That's
No,
right.
no, I'm not. I'm really not.
Okay.
I put my hat on a desk and put my coat on the thing because she hates coats, especially my coats.
So are you just wearing the coat?
No, I'm not wearing the coat. I'd wear the coat to my dad's office. No, not to my mom's office.
All right. You walk in and...
Hello?
Jing, it's been a while.
Mother.
Your mother's smiling.
Oh, that's new.
Is that bad?
She hugs you first, and then picks up Lucy and hugs her.
I'm just like shocked. Really shocked.
At first I was rather I was never sure of your little. I was never sure of your little fancies for adventure, but
Oh my god.
seeing the results, I must say I'm rather pleased with it. And I'm rather glad I never tried to stop you.
Confusion. Lots of confusion, but
Though I am somewhat offended that you failed to mention to your mother you had managed to have a child. Who's the mother?
Lucy is adopted. Duh.
172 pounds later, I feel great.
Attend a free weight
Oh. And the smile slowly fades.
loss. Discover your new self at yournewself.com. This Black Friday, think blue as in
Well, that's...
because now through November 27th, during the Black Friday
Yes, far less exciting.
make Honda quality even more affordable. The best value brand
Is there any reason you came, or was it just to
in every Honda.
crush that hope?
For only $149 a month or a
Yeah, just wanted to see the house. You know, got kidnapped there for 3 weeks,
Oh,
and I need to be up on what's happening because I have no clue.
well, it sounds like you've had an interesting few weeks. Roll a perception check.
Perception.
Wow.
For a split second, almost enough that you wouldn't have noticed it if you weren't paying attention, a look of genuine worry and concern crosses your mother's face. It's brief, but it's there.
What happened?
Well, unless you have other business, I regret to inform you that I have my own business to attend to. She does give Lucy one last hug before setting her down again. Well, we've managed to secure a rather wealthy contract within the past few weeks, and I'm currently working to iron out the details. It's one with the royal family.
Oh. Why did you not look pleased about that?
I do look pleased, and it's almost a question.
You do realize you're not as good as lying as you think you are.
Roll a perception check real quick.
Oh, Jesus.
Your mother is
That's
sort of
not
a...
an advantage because it's my mother.
Yeah, you have advantage.
Okay.
Oh my god, I just realized that one was either a 1 or a 20.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god.
She wasn't lying? She legitimately thought she looked pleased.
Oh. Well, I'm going to go back to this other house, which is down the road, and see to my friend's girlfriend, love interest. I don't know how this is going to work out. But
very well.
I'll try to put in a word with them about Nightingale. I always do. Just nobody ever takes me seriously. Think it's the coat. Maybe the hat too.
You're still wearing that stupid coat.
Yes, it's my favorite coats.
How does Lucy feel about the coat?
Jing's never asked Lucy about how she feels about the coat.
No, I meant is Lucy just staring there like a child?
Currently, Jing, your mother's like holding Lucy like one would sort of a toddler.
Grandkids.
Pretty much. But she does set her down almost reluctantly.
Oh, Lucy, this is my mother.
And again, the smile comes back, and it's genuinely disconcerting.
Oh, okay. It's creepy. Could you not? It's creepy.
I'm not allowed to express happiness at my own family. And the look immediately goes sour again.
Only when you make money are you ever happy. And we both know why that is, because if you were happy, things tend to blow up.
What?
This is it? Just a normal
Well,
Oh, by the way, I got my wings the other day.
really? Well, I'm rather impressed with you.
Just for the sake of it.
Or do you just...
Are you flapping your wings?
I am.
He's showing off.
This would be the first time Lucy's seen it too.
Lucy is awestruck.
Of course she's special, but that doesn't mean she's the right.
But, quick question. Were your parents Asamir, or were they...
My, hold up.
Because it doesn't say...
Like a god or something? Isn't that how that works?
Asamir are either born when a portion of an angel gains free will and is cast off, which is a fallen Asamir, or is when an angel is reborn into mortal form. It can also be a genealogical thing, but that's far rarer.
Ah.
So it is possible to have a family of Asamir. It's just that's essentially a snowball's chance in hell from happening, usually because Asamir are reascended to heaven after they do whatever they have to. But some just stay.
It from my mom.
And in response to you, her wings flash out as well. Hers are far more developed and far larger than yours, but there is a certain elegance in hers that, despite the size, seem to give off a sort of femininity in themselves.
And he's jealous.
Yeah, you feel a slight ping of jealousy. But
so Lucy's just freaking the right fuck out right now. These two
Lucy's like losing her mind. She's like,
this is the best acid trip ever.
Like her mouth is basically hanging open. Her eyes are like the size of saucer plates. Just.
And now the whole room is glowing.
Yeah, it's like a light glow.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank God Lucy's wearing those goggles. But eventually you do, small talk ensues, and eventually you do leave. As you leave for the door, Jing.
Yeah.
It's a diagnosis based on the fact that you're frequently tired.
It was nice to see you again. We'll be in touch. With that, she goes back to her books.
I pick Lucy up and I grab my coat and my hat and I walk out. And I let out a sigh and it's like, at least it wasn't my sister.
Yeah. No, I'm not that cruel. Anyways, you eventually make your way back to the house. Okay, Rainer, roll the perception check you were making for sightseeing.
Perception.
Hey, Tom.
You do
want me
find
to
the
go
parks.
walk up there and get her?
And
Yeah, it went
you
straight
feel an
to
odd
the-
urge to go to
I
one
don't
of them.
think she's getting a signal. It's like I said, I don't think she's getting a signal.
Possibly because it reminds you so much of home,
or something, or
the fact that
like
it's
those messages
this
I sent, they
slice
went
of
as text
nature
messages.
in
That doesn't. That's
almost
not a good sign.
this entire
I was texting her earlier.
urban
Yeah.
jungle, and it speaks to you on an almost subconscious
So, I
level
don't know
of
what to do. Do you
as
want
a
her?
sort of peaceful and
Well, she
welcoming
needs,
environment.
She needs to take a
I think I'll meditate there for a little bit, but I have my watch, so I'll leave before I go. So I won't try to end up late.
Right. Just roll a d20. The meditation is a struggle for you. You don't reach any sort of spiritual atonement or anything. And when you try, you brought back to visions of the village burning, the village destroyed. It unsettles you. You're roused out of it after, as you look at your watch, about 45 minutes of attempted meditation. What you do notice is as you jolt up and try to take in your surroundings almost as a reaction, almost reflexive really, you do see someone attempting to hide behind one of the palm trees. The figure is hooded and they're wearing a mask.
Oh, fuck off. What does that mask look like? Can I tell from here?
Roll a perception check. It seems to be made of a porcelain-like material. There's markings on it painted in red and blue and even a bit of gold. But they almost seem tribal. The mask is simply almost a porcelain face with no facial features except two eyes etched into it.
So from what I can tell, can this person even see through their mask?
You'd think so, yeah. And they seem to be staring at you. The moment they notice that you saw them, they duck behind the tree again.
Me too.
I get up and cautiously, because I've already been kidnapped once, start walking towards this tree.
As you get close to it, roll a perception check again.
Oh my god.
You approach the tree and eventually peek around. Nothing. There is nobody standing there. A quick search of the immediate area reveals nobody. Whoever it was bugged out fast and managed to get away without revealing themselves again.
That's sketchy.
Roll a d20 and add your wisdom, because this would be general knowledge of your own you do remember your elders talking in very brief about other clans that practiced similar martial prowess, martial practitioners. One in particular was known as Daughters of the Sand. They were a group that was it was a muddied story. It was either an offshoot of your group or your group was an offshoot of theirs. Either way, both practiced very similar styles of combat and training, but the Daughters of the Sand were far more in tune with their own ki and almost seemed to exhibit a level of magic with it. One of which was known as the technique Shadow Step.
Oh, fuck.
You remember that Shadow Step allowed them to, as the word entitled, step from one shadow to another.
Oh, that's a high level shadow monk.
Not really.
Mid-level. But I haven't seen them after scoping the area.
Roll an investigation check if you want.
No, it's
Or
like
you
you
can-
said I scoped the area.
That was just like immediate looking around after you looked behind the tree. If you want to try to actually find them again, that'd be an investigation.
Yeah, check my watch. How much time do I have?
It's about 3:30.
All right, I'm gonna spend. How long does it take? Can I guess how long it'll take to get back to the house?
You guys would take about 20 minutes from where you are now.
All right, I'm gonna dedicate an hour to try to figure out where the fuck this person went.
Roll an investigation check. You briefly manage to find them again, but they bug out fast, and this is like a full-on chase. Unfortunately, you quickly lose them in a crowd. Eventually, you give up the chase and quickly retreat back to the house.
As a quick thing from that wisdom discovery, was the Daughters of the Sand? Did they give a description of? Did that look like it was a Daughters of the Sand, or is the technique of the Daughters of the Sand?
It was a technique. The thing was, the Daughters of the Sand in your group, depending on which elder you asked, had a relationship that varied from strained to outright vitriolic hatred. It always varied depending on who you asked, but the main point was the Daughters of the Sand in your group had a falling out of some sort, and one of them left because of it.
All right.
Anyways, you eventually make your way back to the house, and you're actually happy to see Reginald again. Goddamn, you never thought you'd say that, let alone think it.
Yep.
One sec. Reginald looks at you with almost supposed to look. You look shaken. What happened?
I honestly have no idea.
All right.
But I hope it's not what I think.
So what got
It won't danger Lisa,
but
will it?
she wanted to meet at
And
Starbucks.
the look goes from inquisitive to threatening.
No.
Did you drink something?
If anything.
The look changes back to inquisitive. Good. Carry on.
Did she buy something? Oh, okay.
Then I guess I just wait for everyone else to get back. I got some potions to hand out.
What was that again?
Well, I was gonna, I guess, wait
All right,
the rest of them to come back.
Elizabeth, you get back second.
Oh, I'm second? Okay.
No, Elizabeth does. Yeah, oh, actually, Elizabeth, you and Jing come back at the same time. Jing looks frazzled, and throughout all the time you've known him, that's an expression you've never seen him have.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh,
Lucy immediately
my
chimes in.
mother.
We met an angel.
My mother.
She was nice. She also smelled nice too. And that's just Lucy chiming in.
I rub her head.
She smiles contentedly.
You introduced her to your grandmother, as I told Lucy.
Oh my freaking god.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first I was just trying to find my house, and then, I ran into a servant, and they're not going to keep anything from my mother, so I might as well get ahead of that storm before it got home. So my mother knows I have a daughter now. She's happy. It's creepy.
Our parents want grandkids. Well, most parents.
But apparently, we got some kind of contract with the royal family, so she's busy. So yeah, let's get this over with, whatever this is.
Let's be on our way then.
Yep.
Okay. So
I need a drink so bad. Do, 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 do.
I give both of if they're at are they at the house?
yeah, they're both there.
I give each of them 4 potions of healing.
Both of you are surprised at the fact that Nature Boy somehow found magical items and is disseminating them among you.
How much did this cost you?
All of his gold, probably. This is a lot of healing potions.
Yep. And a few things from myself, maybe. Oh yeah, get potion. Hey Jing, can you check these 2? I hold up the potion of fortification and grease to make sure
Heroism.
what they are.
And slipperiness.
What?
Or potion of heroism and oil of slipperiness.
Do, 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 do. Cool. All right. Spell identify.
Well, yeah, they're what they are. And you're actually surprised he got his hand on this.
Who sold you these?
Nice tan dwarf.
Gnome.
No. I thought you said dwarf.
I said gnome.
Okay, no.
Oh, which reminds me, I turn around and put my hand on Elizabeth's shoulder. You wanted to know what spells you were being affected by from that contract. Identify.
What is this for?
The contract that she signed. She wanted to know what spell she was being bound by.
You get the feeling there was a spell, but it's been broken.
Oh shit.
Voided.
Voided.
It hasn't been a year yet. Or 6 months.
Well, they could have also convinced the Adventuring Guild you were dead.
That might be a problem.
Well, you are no longer being affected by any spell. It seems that the spell was ended on the caster's side.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Probably both.
If you never go back to that island again, it's a good thing.
Study for nothing. Good.
You might still want to look for those ingredients in case you run into them.
Yeah, I'd be sick. Better safe than sorry.
Anyways, do you all just return to your rooms, or do you want to explore the mansion? Because it doesn't seem that anybody's forcing you back to your rooms at this point.
I'll go and draft up a letter of introduction for my family, for the head of this family. And then I'll go teach Lucy some more stuff.
I'm going to very
Yeah, you go and draft up a letter.
Yep.
Rainer, what are you doing?
I am carefully walking around because, oh good God, this house is big. But I'm not going to go anywhere that I think it's probably not a good idea that I walk this way.
All right. Roll
You cut out there. Roll what?
an investigation check.
Walk this way.
You find a library.
Ooh.
It's massive. 3 stories.
Wait, what?
3 stories tall. It's 3 floors.
That's a lot of books.
It is indeed. You have basically 2 hours to do whatever you want.
Considering what just happened, I'm going to try to see if I can find any mention of like groups that relate to my sister tribe within the capital.
Roll an investigation check.
God damn it, I have nothing in intelligence.
You keep trying to find information.
Holy crap!
And all right.
These rolls, how can I freaking not try to find stuff? Also, shit just happened.
There is talk of the Queen's Shadows. It's a group comprised of assassins and monks that swear vows of loyalty and secrecy to the Queen and to the royal family. They mostly serve as intelligence gatherers or, in other cases, peacekeepers who mostly operate more covertly. They do sometimes pull... It is often mentioned that they pull from surrounding indigenous tribes for recruits at times, but more often than not, they try to pull from kingdom citizens and not native and not wildlings.
Wildlings? Are we in Westeros?
No, basically, I was just more tribal people I think a better word. Essentially, they try to keep the recruits from people within the cities or prisoners. It is mentioned that they do often conscript prisoners into the program. But it is mentioned that every member must wear a mask. It is supposedly a forfeiture of one's own self-identity for a service of a greater cause.
Well, that's
and the masks
not good.
Are apparently their only piece of article that they possess that they are allowed to mark to
Customize.
It's the only thing they're allowed to customize, but the basic mask is a plain, unmarked porcelain mask.
Oh shit, is that bad or good that they're watching me?
You look through and it's said for the most part that seeing a queen's shadow isn't inherently a bad thing, as it's usually said they're only seen when they wish to be seen.
Oh, I saw them twice. That's not good.
So, while you're now genuinely terrified and possibly jumping at literal shadows and metaphorical ones, you do at least get the general sense if they wanted to kill you, they probably would have.
Okay, I make sure I don't leave a mess and I get the fuck out of here. Or out of the library.
You retreat to your room. But okay,
what?
so
what do you mean but?
Well, no, I was gonna say, do you leave the grounds or do you just?
I'm leaving. I'm cleaning up. I assume the piles of books I pulled from this library.
Yeah, you did.
I'm gonna.
Well, no, you only pulled the one.
Oh, so I got that.
It was a pretty good stroke of genius on your part, but.
And then I go back to my room.
Yeah.
And contemplate what the fuck could that mean.
Mm-hmm. So, Jing and Elizabeth, what are you guys doing? Well, I know what Jing's doing, but that only takes about 30 minutes.
Well, I take Lucy out to the garden if they have a garden. I'm pretty sure they have a garden.
Well, I saw a garden.
They're rich. They have a garden.
You go to the garden?
Yep.
Right. You're in the garden.
Yay. And I teach Lucy Tai Chi.
Hey, hold on a minute. If anyone should be teaching her Tai Chi, I should be teaching her.
Your ass is upstairs. I don't want to hear it.
Roll an intelligence check, because this is more a drawing of your own knowledge, and
Do you even know Tai Chi?
It's improvised for the most part, but you do teach her the fundamentals of the practices. Unfortunately, that's the end of your knowledge of the facts of it.
Ooh. I can teach her fencing, fighting
You
with
just
side.
Remember, this is 2 hours, and she's 8.
And I'm a great teacher. I'm just teaching her just random things.
Okay, yeah, roll a general intelligence check first, just... You're developing her into a jack of all trades of sorts.
And then I present to her her dagger that I bought and her backpack that I bought. She's 8. You know, when I got my first sword or scythe?
Circle.
Oh, no. I suppose you would.
But she does take the dagger gratefully and pockets it.
Yay.
Anyways,
she has an adorable little backpack now.
Yeah. Elizabeth, what are you doing?
I actually still have this sealed scroll that Elvin gave me. I want to open it up and read it.
It's blank.
Blank.
turning down the film.
Yep.
Why on earth would you do that?
All right then. I know what I'm gonna talk about in dinner.
I think staying Harlem would.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Dinner comes, and you're all summoned again.
Are they forcing us into the dresses and suits?
But you've worked so
Um,
for so long.
it seems this time they're leaving clothing that, while still definitely, it seems to definitely be like fancier and higher class. It's more closer to your general fashion sense. Jing, you are given like an outfit that incorporates sort of a larger overcoat that's well embroidered, and
Is it white though?
it's actually white, and the embroidery is a golden thread.
Sweet.
And Lisa gets a dress more suited, a sort of childish frilly dress that she seems puzzled by, and she sort of gives you a confused look as she holds it up.
I pull out her clothes. What do you want to wear?
She gets the maid outfit on again.
And I do up her hair.
You do?
And then I put my Stetson on, and she puts her witch hat on, and we go.
God damn it, man.
All right. Elizabeth, you're essentially given a tunic with an opening in the back for your wings.
So a cocktail dress?
Pretty much. Yeah, you're essentially given a cocktail dress that it's sort of a hybrid between a traditional dress and a cocktail dress. It's mostly to allow your wings to actually be out instead of being cramped against your body. And it actually, the colors sort of go with the color of your draconic attributes.
So I'm wearing a black dress.
Pretty much. Yeah. Black dress with a sort of purple embroidery and seaming. Rainer, you're given a pretty nice set of robes. It gives off a bit of man cleavage.
So, how am I going to be fronting my abs during this dinner?
It's showing a bit of the pecs. It's not showing the nipples because this is still nobility, but
nipples.
It's not showing nipples, but it's showing a decent amount of pec cleavage. And it's actually quite simple in design. There's small embroidery of what almost appears to be like a vine sort of thing, a sort of vine that just absentmindedly crawls across the entire robe as a whole. But yeah, it's similar, if almost identical to your own, but with those changes. A side note, this was given to you not by one of the maids, but by Lisa's sister.
Wait, what was
Lisa
that?
who?
Lisa's older sister gave you this, personally.
Is this
Older
sister
sister
the person that we had dinner with?
Yes.
Okay, confirmation. Who guessed sister? I forget.
I did.
Alright, Jing gets the imaginary pot.
Woohoo!
But she basically shoved this in your arms, and with this sort of impish smile on her face that, if you weren't terrified of her, you'd immediately know. If you weren't already terrified of her, would terrify you.
We still don't know who it is because they never said it in game.
Yeah. But out of character, you do.
Yep. I guess
Anyways.
I get dressed.
Yeah. You get dressed, and as you look at yourself, look pretty good. And you leave as well. Elizabeth, Rainer's showing off a bit of cleavage.
Don't stop saying cleavage.
That's essentially what it is.
My pecs are showing.
Sewing that hamburger meat.
What?
That's what it's called, sewing your hamburger.
I've never heard that ever in my life.
Neither have I.
You need to watch more black people films.
Anyways. Yeah. You all sit down for dinner. It is essentially the same. There's nobody new at the table. Everybody roll a perception check.
Do-do-do, do-do-do.
Yeah.
I don't see shit.
Wow.
Jing, you're occupied trying to keep Lucy from
Hold on, that's a
abandoning all
natural 1 and a natural 20 by two different
Yeah.
people.
Jing, you're more occupied. You become too occupied trying to keep Lucy from ripping apart the pig that's brought out and trying to excavate its innards for consumption with her bare hands, mind you. Elizabeth, you notice that the butler and the older sister are huddled together and talking.
Oh no.
Rainer, you notice Lisa is... If you hadn't been so aware of the situation, you wouldn't have noticed, but she is every once in a while stealing a quick glance towards your pecs. And Elizabeth, you notice very, very slyly a small pouch exchanges hands from the butler to the older woman.
Oh my god, no, they did not.
And after that, the butler does look a bit disappointed, and this older woman is just beaming.
Did they really just bet if they could get her to look at my pecs?
Rainer, you also notice that Lisa is blushing heavily, and is, when you do make eye contact with her after one of these glances, her eyes go wide, and she immediately turns back to the food with a beet red look on her face, with her face now just beet red.
I am also blushing because this is what the fuck.
Elizabeth, you also notice the older woman gives you sort of a appreciative glance every once in a while as well. And you did notice Lisa staring. The woman, she seems to be stealing the same glances that Lisa is, except with her, it's far more confidently. And when you do make eye contact, she just more gives you a smirk and a slight nod of the head.
What is it with
They are
you
praising
and
the
finding
meat.
freaking women in power?
Maybe it's the psychopath.
These are two different characters.
They're essentially the same person.
That's 100% true.
Anyways, do any of you strike up conversation, or?
Intelligence.
Wow.
I teach her how to eat at the table.
It's an odd experience, especially considering you're at a dinner, but you do quickly teach Lucy the basics of dinner etiquette. The first one is don't shove meat into your face, no matter how good it is. And no matter how hungry you are, no using your hands. Those are the two basic things you hammer into her head. But you get things done pretty quick. You managed to get that done pretty quickly.
I have no idea whether or not I should bring up that masked person or not. I don't think I should.
Roll a d20.
I need to stop saying that and compliment it for myself. Oh! I guess I'm talking.
You offhandedly, in the hopes to get Lisa to stop staring at your pecs, bring it up in conversation, mostly saying, and how do you bring this up to begin with?
Well, I was in the park today and I saw some person in a porcelain mask hiding behind a tree.
Everything feels somewhat cohesive, but in its own unique way.
Any kind of chatter stops dead when you mention this.
I think we knew it would be beautiful, but it's almost surreal.
Reginald's the first one to ask. First off, you lied.
I did not lie. I did not know what they were until I read a book in your library. I thought they were something else.
Second, did they say anything?
No, they vanished the minute I noticed them.
Hopefully you guys have
The older woman. Well, I suppose it could be a good thing. Maybe they're looking to recruit you.
From what I read, that might not be a good thing. I just whisper out because I'm still terrified of her. I assume that was the older sister?
Yeah, it's the older woman.
Older woman. Yeah, whatever.
Lisa, as you look over, is... Yeah, she's concerned.
Anybody else want to fill us in on porcelain mask person?
Reginald looks over to you. Within my Tyrell, there's a group known as the Queen's Shadows. They're primarily information gatherers, but they occasionally... It's more rumor than anything, but it's supposedly said that there's a good number of former assassins among their ranks that find their skills to be still quite useful. Each member is forced to swear vows of loyalty and secrecy, forsaking their names and pasts in exchange for new ones.
And you think they want to recruit?
They look for anyone of martial prowess. Recruits are taken in, trained, and within a few years, a new shadow joins the ranks.
I stare at Rainer for like 30 minutes.
Is this just like to stare at him, or are you trying to figure something out about him?
Sure, I'll roll an insight. Does he have the potential to be any type of assassin without screwing it up?
You get the general sense that at the moment his body is insanely on edge. And you get the general idea that if he put his mind to it, it wouldn't be that hard for him to convert from a purely martial arts focus to one of learning how to kill. or rather solely learning how to kill. But yeah, no, it would seem he would have the aptitude for it. Another thing you pick up is Raynor seems just as off-put by by what Reginald's saying, as off-put and surprised as you were.
Hmm. Whoop, I'm learning far too many things tonight.
And we all eat in awkward silence from here on out.
Reginald does type up. Well, for one thing, we know they don't want to kill you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen them.
You'd just be dead.
Quite.
Just eating in silence.
What's the performance for?
That's where I'm from.
Because I'm bored, so I start performing for Lucy.
To my left, don't get me wrong.
She loves it. After you put the scroll on the table.
Hey, Emily, what's this gossip you texted me about? You know how our office manager...
Oh yeah, that thing. What's it say?
Try opening it.
Yes. She sold it. Dog sleds to Dallas? Wow.
Do you?
Good for her.
Where's the scroll from again? I forget.
It was from the elf bastard.
Oh. Pass it over here real quick.
I pass it over.
Oh yeah, can we say that when I handed them their potions, I told them that, oh, the magic detectors are actually just magic detectors?
Yeah, you did. Just a scroll.
After the holidays.
Nothing.
Besides, it's Christmas. The chances of
Nothing unique.
You are going to be fine.
It's a scroll.
Mm-hmm.
I have full
Nice parchment.
I open it up.
It's blank. No marks, no nothing, no anything. Just blank.
That's not good. What was said? They're supposed to be on this.
It was supposed to be the location of a contact.
Can I investigate it to see if there's any like secret writing on it or something?
We just
Roll an investigation check.
with real money. It's late in the game, but I'm not saying no to this kind of money. It can help.
There is invisible ink that only reveals itself once you hold it over a candle flame that's on the table.
Wants to make sure his son gets off on the right foot. See?
I find a candle, or you know what? I give it to Raynor and have him hold it, and I light my hand on fire with burning hands.
All right.
What does it say?
It reads in Elven.
Oh, good, I can read it.
We offer these as tributes for your brood. May your children grow strong upon the marrow within their bones. May their bodies and flesh provide for great homes. We ask that in return, you offer more of your power to us.
I am not reading this out loud.
Yeah, you're not. We hope that in time, you might one day bring us into your family as well.
What the fuck?
That is all it says.
Somebody is fucking dead. That is all I know.
I have not said any of this. All I've said is
I
literally
have
what
comprehend
the fuck.
language.
Okay.
Okay.
I close my
that's-
hand.
I don't know what this would be, but did that spider seem anything more than just a giant fucking spider that could talk? Because this is sounding like it's something more than just a giant fucking spider that could talk.
Roll an investigation check. No, roll a history check, because this is more trying to remember back on your own memory.
Same as it's int-based, fuck. Nope, nothing.
Yesterday I was going through the
You-
Christmas decorations. And
You're not sure.
something that reminded me of a promise you broke.
You figure it's most likely some kind of deal, but you don't know.
Whether you would have, and unless I missed something, you haven't had it in 2 years. Yeah. You're not busy now.
Yeah, no, but
I wonder what the rules are for when you're offering escapes.
Yep.
So enjoy your brunch.
Probably not good. But the big spider did let us go at the end.
Because I returned something that apparently some other poor bastard got taken.
Sweater.
at this, Lisa pipes up, giant spider?
I told her everything that happened in the journal. She knows
Oh, yeah,
about
never mind.
that.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry.
I guess. You guess?
Yeah, no, they don't say that. Sorry, I forgot about that part. But
He's either running around like a
Everything
huge
except
tornado or
the,
sleeping,
I assume,
and
fake
I will
name
listen
we
to
were given.
papers
yeah, you didn't tell her the fake name.
I feel silly
Ah, so
Well,
it is a fake
now
name.
it seems a
Well,
now
you
it
think
seems
it's a fake
apparent
name.
Out of character, I think it's a fake name.
Yeah, and that's what I'm referring it to until you find proof otherwise. Because that's what you assume it to be. So until proof is presented, that is fact. So
At least there's something we still have in common.
you have that now to chew on.
So what are Reginald and unidentified other female thought of what freaking Jing lit up his hands and saw me reading a blank piece of paper?
Apparently.
Because I assume this was happening at dinner.
Yeah, it was. But
Oh, it's good to know I'm not the only one with work issues. Work issues?
not.
You've been at the same school.
They actually didn't react.
On autopilot by now.
They
Oh, it's Winter Wonderland,
gave
which is the same every year. There's a new sponsor.
they gave like a sideways glance
Don't ever let it be that different.
before just going back to their own meals.
Psychic Coast, Ice Rink, Hot Cocoa Corner, Santa's Village. Anyone could do it.
What do y'all know of a spider cult?
For stuffy real estate developers. Easy. Oh, really? Really?
There's Loth, but beyond that, I don't know of any. And
Piper gave her low maintenance. I could be the mom.
Jing, you notice when Loth is mentioned, Lucy perks up slightly.
What does that even mean? You should try living.
What's wrong, Lucy?
Okay, fine. I have my shoes.
Loth
But you still don't understand. how important my family
was.
is. You have carpools and teacher lounges.
Loth abandoned us.
And fancy parties. That is all work. I have no
Oh.
personal life. I'm exhausted.
See, that's a
Quite
detail
frankly,
and
running
a half.
into Wonderland in my sweatpants sounds like a vacation. Oh, that is so typical. You have never appreciated
Why?
how hard it is to do what I do. I would love to.
And she just shrugs her shoulders, and she almost looks on she looks to be almost in tears because of that.
Really?
I pick her up.
Do you just hug her?
Prove it.
Mm-hmm.
How? Doing?
Silent sobbing begins.
Oh, come on. We haven't done that since the infamous Tom Kinder fiasco. We'd get caught. I wouldn't.
Charisma roll.
You comfort her well.
This is absurd.
Whatever
you think.
You figure this is you're tapping into some pretty deeply ingrained trauma at the moment, and you just need to let her cry it out. As of now, you just know the best thing you can do is be there for her.
So I wouldn't have to actually teach you.
Well, I'm going to assume, unless anyone has anything else to say, I think that's dinner.
Something.
Yeah, after that's mentioned, dinner passes quickly. And yeah.
When is dessert?
What was that?
When is dessert?
I assume that was the last course served.
Yeah, it was the last course.
This is a full course meal we're getting every night here.
This was a slightly smaller one than before, but yeah, it's essentially that.
They're bringing up the mood here.
Rainer, yeah, as everyone leaves, or do you want to try making more conversation?
Oh, heck no, man. I've caused freaking a lot of weird things to happen. I'm not saying anything.
Elizabeth?
Yeah, I'll go to my room.
All right. Rainer, as you're let out, you do notice that... Well, actually, Reginald pulls you aside and says...
Again?
Yes. Perhaps it would... It is... We actually now have a room ready for you. And they move you to a much nicer room with a lovely view of the garden.
Wait. I'm confused. I thought that was my room.
No, you're moved to a room on an upper floor. Before you were on the first floor. Now you're on the same floor as everybody else, which is, I believe, the third. Apparently, Reginald was just keeping you in a room as far away from Lisa as possible.
That's okay. I thought that was my punishment room for the entirety of this trip.
No, he's come to tolerate you.
Tolerate me.
At least that's the general impression you get.
I'm sorry.
And
You just look familiar.
You're given a much nicer room. It's also noted that all your stuff's been moved into it already.
That was a long dinner.
Or the servants are just very effective.
Or any time during the day, we were kicked out of the house.
Yeah. No, you went back to your room before dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And all your stuff was still there. But anyways...
Explains what?
Well, I've been looking at the plans for the carnival for this year.
Yeah.
And I realized that they look exactly the same.
Your room has a lovely overview of the gardens. And even a little view of a smaller, secluded...
But I figured with my donation, we can expand this year.
There's a smaller place that you can go to if you want. You see a few places that would be good for meditation.
The event is less than 2 weeks away from being executed.
But roll a perception check real quick.
We're gonna make it a priority.
as you're on the balcony.
I was about to say, depending on where I am in this house.
Right next door.
Natural 20.
You see two individuals at the very edge of the gardens. One you almost immediately recognize as the one from the park earlier.
Oh, fuck, really?
The other is a slightly taller individual. Both are wearing these robes that essentially obscure any kind of physical characteristic. Essentially, these are two completely androgynous individuals. You have no idea what gender or what race. This one's wearing a mask, but it is entirely black, save for 3 claw marks painted in white, dragged from the top of the left to the bottom of the right side. Both seem to be directly staring at your room. The moment you even seem to look in the direction, they both dodge out of view and disappear.
Is Reginald behind me outside the room?
You can check real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
No.
Fuck. Oh, I'm getting tired of this. I'm gonna...
And you hear... Did you say that out loud?
Yes. I'm getting tired of this as...
And you hear a voice from the balcony. Then maybe you should actually try and find us. And standing on the balcony and twirling in her hand a knife is the same figure, except now she's actually removed the robe and it's a female.
Fuck.
The white mask.
Time limit before.
Rolled chicken tacos are back. Tasty shredded chicken rolled up with your choice of dips. Only at Taco Bell.
That's an excuse, not a reason. And she's basically sitting on the railing.
Am I still in my fancy clothes?
Yes.
I have no weapons except my fists.
Yeah. Given that you're not panicking, I assume you're not panicking. What's actually known about us is but a fraction of what we actually do.
You move like some people I know or heard of.
I mean, the Daughters of the Sand.
Oh, what? Why do they know that?
Did you say, is that in character or out?
No, that's out of character. In character, Rainer's eyes are growing wide as heck. Very shocked that they know what that word means. Name is.
You hear chuckling. Oh, please. We knew about your group. You really didn't think we wouldn't know about them? Especially considering what happened to yours. They were the first people we looked into. She goes into a small satchel that she had set down on the balcony, pulls out a letter, holds it out to you.
She just arm out with a letter.
Yeah. She hasn't moved, and in her left hand, she's still twirling the dagger.
Alertly and like on all forms of edge, I'm gonna slowly walk up and take the letter.
Her hand pulls away from the letter, and she's just absentmindedly twirling the knife still, staring at you.
I look at the letter, but still keeping like one eye on her.
It's more report. Do you actually like open the letter?
Well, I'm gonna I'm looking at the letter. Do I recognize anything about it?
Okay.
That must have hurt. Watching me look
It seems to almost have like a small report on it of sorts. It has a series of numbers. It says My Terrell, and then it says the name of your people. Just for sake of sanity, because I never got it from you. What is that name?
You did not read my backstory at all, did you?
I read it, but I can't remember it. I can look through it right now.
I will message you right now because I don't want that's major story bits for them.
Yeah, it doesn't actually say in the bio. Oh yeah. Wait.
The village of Shakakiki.
No, it just is. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. Not that I see.
Shaka Zulu.
I can explain later if you want.
Yeah, that would be nice, but it bears that name. And do you open it?
Yep.
It details a surveillance report, specifically one assessing the damages of the destruction of the entire group. It also lists relics known to be kept by this group were missing, or missing/not found on site. Method of attack indicates knowledge of martial prowess / knowledge of clan's prowess. One survivor, half elven, male. Known names, Rainer. Current location, unknown. Beyond that, it's terminology, and most of the information really doesn't even catch your eye. It's just those portions that do. It also mentions that one of the elders was unaccounted for. Whether the body was just not found or he was not with the tribe.
We need to talk about that because I'm pretty sure Rainer would realize if someone was missing, considering what happens.
That's what their report says.
Wait a minute, did they freaking... we have to have a talk, because...
I'm assuming this is... From what you read, then, you obviously know the Queen's shadow stretches the entire kingdom. There's not much that happens that we don't know of. We also know of a certain individual's attempts to feed you to what they foolishly believed was a god. Several weeks ago, actually. Your clan was a rather well-connected group, consider most importantly with the shadows. We don't like it when one of our own is destroyed. So, we want to ensure that clan's teachings are passed on. We wanted to ensure your survival. There she slowly stands, collects what she did, and slowly starts putting on the robe again.
Good to see you. How you been?
Better. I need your team. Wheels up within the hour.
This may outside of conventional forces.
We'll be in touch. With that, she turns and jumps off.
Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less joint pain, watch me.
For less joint pain and clearer skin,
You hear a dole. As you rush to the balcony, she is no longer there. Instead, You see her a good 60 feet out, suddenly appearing on top of one of the hedges. She jumps down again. And again, you see her appear again, this time at the tree line. Or, well, the property line. And then they're both gone.
What the fuck, man? What are you doing to me?
Jing, you have a lovely night distracting Lucy from traumas of her past, by essentially performing for her to try and get her mind off of it. Eventually, the both of you go to sleep from exhaustion. And yeah, you had a better night. You've had better nights, but it was a nice one. Elizabeth.
Better than a hangover.
True. Elizabeth, you had nothing too major.
No secret visits from Ella's
No
sister in the
secret
night.
visits. Anyways, next dawn comes. And
Don't judge me. Oh, good morning. Sorry, the bacon's a little bit burnt.
Rainer, you're the first to wake up. Matter of fact, you really didn't sleep last night.
No shit! Just for clarification, did she take the report back?
No.
So that's just my little keepsake.
Pretty much.
So her father, he's strawberry yogurt, please. What? Oh, sure, yogurt.
Do you want to take a level of exhaustion from this, or?
So,
Um,
I drink cold water.
Because for the sake of sanity, let's simply say,
I'm gonna say
at a certain
that
point, you just passed out from
passed out.
stress.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was gonna work.
You
himself
awaken-
to pass out.
You awaken and find yourself curled up in a ball in a corner. You didn't even go to sleep on the bed.
I need to sleep.
What little sleep you managed to get was plagued with nightmares. Most of them were of you when you were younger. Walking through the ruined remnants of what was once your people, your family, the only people you had known in your life. You don't often have dreams. Never
But when
ones
they
that
do,
are,
they're fucked up.
never ones that vivid either. It's actually been a while since they were that bad.
Watch your mom put on her makeup.
You try to remember that one individual they said was missing. Every time you think back, you swear you remember seeing a corpse that is corpse, but every time you do, something starts nagging at you. Small details of it that just seemed off, that at the time you would never have thought to look at, but now
Motherfucker, what are you saying?
you're not sure.
Maybe your father's. Oh no, that part was true.
And at the moment, you firmly believe that they're just lying about that part, but a small voice in your head it's wondering, what if they're right?
Everything's over $1,000 a month.
How can you put a price on privacy like that, huh? Freedom, your own
You
bathroom, your own.
look at your watch. It's 2 a.m.
Now,
You know, at this hour, nobody's going to be up. Nobody else is up. What do you do to pass the time?
Oh, hey.
Sleep will just bring more nightmares.
great.
I'm training. I'm going through everything my master ever taught me to try to just get me to exhaustion.
Roll a strength check. Just general strength.
You stay a little bit longer. Just throw a little something for
You can't focus. You run through the exercises, but it's half-hearted. Your mind's not in it. Your heart isn't in it. You can't focus on it.
Tonight at 10 on TBS. Catch up anytime.
After an hour, you give up. No matter how much you try to just push yourself to exhaustion, you know, no matter what purpose you try to put training in, it'd just be a disgrace if you don't put your all into it. The last time you felt anger at both yourself and others was when you watched the barbarian die. Beyond that, you don't remember a feeling of hatred that harsh within your own system. You're a voice at your side. It's the Rock. You can choose to ignore him if you want, but...
What is he saying?
The hell's wrong with you? And it's not so much antagonistic as more genuinely worried.
I take him out and I say, what they say doesn't make any sense. I buried everyone there. There can't be someone missing.
Oh, God, we are not ready to have an infant in this house. We don't have a crib. We don't have diapers.
I'm gonna need some context here.
My clan were slaughtered. By the time I got back, I was the only one still breathing. At least I thought. It doesn't make sense. Things missing, that makes sense, but there can't be, no one else was alive. I know it.
Well, maybe this might put things into a bit of perspective. Take me. I'm obviously not what I appear to be. Maybe someone replaced it. Maybe someone had someone who looked similar, so that if anybody was able to look hard enough, they wouldn't know the difference.
When he says that, I check the report again. Do they mention do they mention any, like, they just said elder, right? They didn't give, like...
They didn't give a name.
Any kind of descriptor?
They didn't give They gave
Well, my sister.
slight descriptor of, and it's an elder you know well. It was one.
Reminds me, I need to go shopping for them.
So no gift cards, man.
It was
No, Auntie Kate is
one.
doing a wallet this year.
It wasn't the one that taught you, but it was that elder's brother.
They're known as
You didn't know him well.
I thought we
You-
pulled them together. Little family
You had
bonding.
interacted with him well enough to know him by name and by face, but beyond that, you wouldn't know him well enough to describe him on your own.
Hey,
But it doesn't give a name, but descriptors allows you to remember it. So yes, you do know the individual, but they don't mention it specifically, at least.
But still doesn't make any sense to Rainer.
All Rainer knows is that they mention an individual who he's certain he buried, but
What's that?
no, it's my Christmas dream board. Yeah, I have so many ideas stored up.
does Rainer tell the Rock?
Visualize before I actualize.
Sure, why not?
Hey, a dream board. Cool.
Okay, so say this elder guy. So way I see it, there's 3 ways this whole thing could have gone down. This whole thing goes. The first is they're wrong and you're right. As far as they know, their reports are completely wrong. They just mistakenly identified the guy and you did bury him. The second is
Hey, why don't you just
this
put those in the dishwasher?
whoever slaughtered your people
Mom's been meaning to-
replaced him with someone that looked similar, but
Oh, that
not enough to fool these people.
Thank you.
You said you were the only one left breathing, right? Is it safe to assume that you weren't exactly in the right frame of mind at the time?
Why don't you make him yourself?
Well, I was
You're adorable.
burying every person I ever knew or cared about, including my own family.
That's a no. Okay. So, maybe the people who killed everybody took him. Or, and
Technology, engineering,
while this might be a very cynical idea,
Tour of the Denver Museum for Nature and Science. It's really
this
cool.
guy knew and used something like me
She's artistic too.
as a decoy while he ran.
Something like you.
Shapeshifters,
Winter Wonderland
mimics,
is less than 2 weeks away now.
doppelgangers.
Where's the opportunity for change next year?
I sure as hell don't know what I am, but I at least know that I'm something similar.
Would Rainer know enough that if a shapeshifter-like thing is killed, it would revert to its real form?
A lot of ice skating.
Chris, we agreed the ice rink was up the first year.
You wouldn't know, actually.
I mean,
Okay.
of course we did. Why?
It was too expensive. Well, now it's not.
Or
Just out of
he was
curiosity,
involved.
why is having the ice skating rink
I
so important?
honestly didn't want to say it, but
I have fond memories.
yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Kid, what are you doing here?
Here's what you need to do.
We really have to get his eyesight prescription.
Don't
Just
think
it's
about it.
Chris.
This shit's obviously gonna tear you up if you do. And it seems this other group seems to have has a lot better understanding of the situation than you do. The way I see it, you do what I've been doing for the past few weeks. Sit things out
Just a number.
and wait for it to get interesting. Wait for it to get important, for you at least. Then chime in.
Okay, tell me a lie. I need your expert sewing skills.
Look, kid. Obviously, this is tearing you up, so. Want to try drinking?
I tried that once. It doesn't taste good.
You just haven't had enough.
Are you you carrying some giant thing of alcohol?
Hell no. I don't know that weird-looking friend of yours does.
He poured
What's
it
his
all out.
name? Jing?
Yeah, but he emptied his flasks to carry water when we were in the desert.
Well, look where we are. This place has got to have wine of some kind.
I'm not going to steal wine from Lisa's house.
Yeah. Well, fine. To each their own. I'm going back to sleep. With that, the stone becomes lifeless once again.
Put him back in my pocket. Just sit on my bed.
Roll a perception check.
You are pulling up some fucking shit right now, man.
This is actually going to be a bit surprising.
He doesn't sleep though.
It's like 2. Yeah, that's an 8.
You swear for a second. Outside of your room somewhere, you hear a choked gasp and sobbing, but it's so quiet that you can't even tell where it's coming from, and it quickly fades.
No! You did not just do what I think you did.
It passes quickly. You are now... It's 3:30 currently.
Well, there's only one thing I can do. I'm gonna try to knock myself out.
Okay. How?
I was going to go with a punch to my own face, but that wouldn't really work. Now that I think about it.
Do you want to take a look around the room and see if you can find anything suitable?
Hold on, let me check my inventory. Oh, I have a mess kit. I have a frying pan. I'm gonna hit myself in the head with a frying pan.
This just went from like depressingly sad to comedic. Okay.
Those two often go hand in hand.
Okay. For the sake of sanity, just roll a dex check.
21. I'm knocking myself the fuck out. Somehow I clicked twice.
With a steely, where do you position yourself before you knock yourself out? First off,
that I fall backwards onto the bed.
Okay, good. If you didn't specify that, I would have had you slam onto the floor. All right. So with a dex, you.
It was a 21.
Close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Grit your teeth. You're a whoosh of air. Nothing.
So I just hit myself in the head really hard.
What did you expect me to come up with when you use a frying pan?
You've seen cartoons. You get knocked the fuck out.
That's an anvil.
Also frying pans.
Well, okay, so
that didn't work.
No, you're knocked out.
Oh, it did?
Dude, you got a 21.
Thank you. I'm gonna be sore in the morning, but at least I'm not gonna get exhausted.
Well, later in the morning, but yeah. Fast forward 8 hours. Jing and Elizabeth
I slept through breakfast.
Yeah, no. Jing and Elizabeth, you both get up. You both got up at breakfast. Lucy was a bit concerned though, because Rainer wasn't there. And Lucy voiced these concerns to you specifically. You get to Rainer's room and you bring Lucy along and you knock on the door. No answer. You knock on the door again. No answer. Nothing.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Is it locked?
Try the
I
handle?
asked that like 6 times, but I was muted.
Yeah, no. Do you try the handle?
Yeah.
It opens. And the scene before you is odd. On the bed, sprawled out with a giant welt on his head, is Rainer. And clutched in one hand loosely is a frying pan.
She's the one who lets you sing. She wants to build the whole show around you.
Okay.
We're crying with happiness.
Another investigation check.
It appears that this must have been some sort of self-inflicted wound.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and Rainer, you took.
Well, I slept after that, so does it matter?
Yes, it does. Because again, this is you took 4 points of bludgeoning damage from a slab of metal slamming into your face.
Does that carry over to my health regen?
It does. So you do recover it, but you get a nasty welt on your head because of this. Anyways.
Odd. Well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, sure. I'm just decorating my space.
I touch
Lucy
him and
jumps up
and I use the identify
quickly
spell before
starts
he
like
wakes up.
lightly shaking Rainer awake.
No, I love the company.
All right. I'll be right there.
Does it work? Roll strength for drow child.
Actually, Rainer, roll a Constitution check.
Oh crap, did I give myself a concussion?
Roll Constitution check.
20.
The shaking does slowly wake you up.
Are you still up for the lights? I want to get a star.
And
Sure.
you instantly start regretting what you did.
Oh, my head.
Your eyes open and you see, for a split second, the girl. And then it's Lucy.
On the bed.
It's Lucy. After you blink a few times, it comes Lucy, and your reaction scared her. Jing, you see in Rainer's eyes fear. Primal, unreasoning fear in his eyes.
Oh my god, if I had rolled low, I would have punched her, wouldn't I?
Possibly. Thankfully, you managed to contain yourself, and it subsides in a second.
Well, what did you expect?
Cafes and string quartets.
But
sorry.
there was
So it seems like you had a good night.
No.
Ugly sweater.
I'd like to remind you, you're still wearing the robes from yesterday.
Oh shit.
So you're still showing off a bit of the pectoral region.
I'm okay, Lucy. I'm sorry if I scared you. I had a very bad dream.
She
This is the kind of experience I wanted when
hugged you around the neck. It's okay. And she gets off the bed. Okay. After the hug ends, she jumps off the bed, turns to, I'm gonna go back to the room for a bit. I'm tired. She just trots out of the room.
Denver is less than an hour away. I mean, come on. In LA, that's like a daily commute.
Is this what it feels like to be hungover?
I like it here. It's got the best of both worlds.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
Yes.
I don't know. How does it feel? Because it looks like you knocked your ass out with a frying pan.
I did do that.
Insight roll.
I'm not lying.
He's not lying. He hit himself with a frying pan.
Why did you do that?
Because I couldn't sleep otherwise.
And why is
I had
that?
a lot of bad memories come up at me at once, Jing. Leave me alone.
Well, you should come to breakfast before they send other people looking for you.
I check my watch. What time is it?
Oh, I can do it. I love baking.
Almost 11:30.
They stopped serving breakfast.
I could tell you,
If you
but I
could
like
please
you much
leave,
better
I need to change out of these very nice robes that I forgot to switch out of before knocking myself out.
Hey, how are the kids
Poof.
doing? Oh yeah, they're fine. I just called to check in.
You just go. You leave?
Yep.
I
Right.
close the door and get changed in my normal clothes.
You do.
Exit, take 2, by Chris.
They're actually. It seems they've been washed and they smell nice. Better than they've smelled in
What, he's
months.
helping me plan the party.
Alright, sure.
Well, Tom thinks you're me.
This is a problem. We agree. Let the switch affect our real lives.
I'm checking to see if the report is still there.
No romance. For either. of
It
us.
is.
Crap, that wasn't a dream.
The only way.
Agreed.
I'm going to eat my jerky for my ration.
You eat jerky, and it's tough. It requires a lot of chewing. It serves as a good distraction and something kind of to work out your anger as you essentially rage chew the jerky.
Don't eat angry, kids. Don't eat angry.
I eat hangry all the time.
Yeah, no. So
Ready to go get something to
start.
eat. You want to come?
Yeah, so you start, and feels good to have something in your stomach again.
Gazing after. I have a fiance. Remember? Yes, no, I do. I know. 3,000 miles worth. We still talk.
Yay! Awkward
Out
silence.
of curiosity, I'm gonna check my journal because I just realized we both got our journals back, and I haven't touched it once since we came into her house.
That one there is beautiful on the inside.
Is there anything there, or has she been too butlery?
It seems someone's been keeping an eye on what she writes in it.
Of course, someone has.
In fact, there seems to be a message. It doesn't seem to go away, and it seems to be not be inked in, but almost
Someone used magic.
etched into the page, as in someone carved into one of the pages.
Oh fuck! That's the butler. Possibly.
Don't get any ideas.
Okay, that could mean anything.
He's trying to make broad sweep statements.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
So that's not going away.
yeah. Anyways, Elizabeth, what do you want to do? You find yourself in the same situation as yesterday.
Who is she first? How do you think about this?
Did you say go to Jing first?
Yeah.
All right. Jing, well, you're getting Lucy ready for the day. You're approached by Elizabeth.
Sup?
Where's it going?
The golden boy knocked himself out.
Don't say.
believe he's trying to hide something. I mean, everybody's trying to hide something apparently, but I think it's affecting him emotionally.
Just give him some time.
So what's up? You need something? Need
Nah,
some
just
red?
need some what?
I said, did you need something red?
Mm, could go for a drink.
I'll come. Lucy, you want to go out?
Sure, actually.
Cool.
I have a special plan in mind.
Oh God.
These are always fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, I remember the last time you came up with a special plan. And don't try that here.
Okay.
Metagaming, but God, please don't
Elizabeth?
try that here.
It's not like we're brother and sister.
We certainly are not.
Elizabeth, roll a persuasion check.
Oh my God, you've been missing.
Oh no! Okay. You get access to the full. You get access to anyone you want in this case. Whisper to me which ones. Whisper to me which groups you want to pull from.
Oh my God. I'm so scared.
The possibilities are endless.
Well, not endless, because I'm pretty sure... Actually, I don't have any clue what you're doing, but I'm still scared nonetheless.
You're scared. I'm participating in, and I don't even know what's going on.
Elizabeth?
Oh no, don't try
Actually-
Lucy with this.
I just miss them so much. I'm
I was told we were going to get a drink.
Funny thing. You're approached by Lisa before you can even start. And I'm not going to talk about the conversation, but just for the sake of sanity,
Should I leave?
No. Roll a wisdom saving throw.
What the fuck?
Who?
Elizabeth, roll a wisdom saving throw.
I'm kind of scared now.
Yeah, you failed.
You're scared?
You saw a side of Lisa that, in a way, impresses you and also terrifies you.
I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
Lisa just out-intimidated Elizabeth.
I mean, I'd like some context here because I'm supposed to be participating in this, but I have no idea what's going on.
I can leave if it's something I'm not supposed to hear.
Yeah, actually, Mark, can you leave for a few minutes so I can explain what happens?
Alright, give me a second. Just message me in chat, I guess.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah, I'm the only one who's recording this. So you get to be surprised along with me.
Want to know what they ate for lunch?
Wow, I came back right at the second.
Okay, so asking around, their parents are currently in a nearby, let me get the name.
Not in capital.
Yeah, they're not in the capital at the moment. They're currently in Keshra. Apparently, they have some business dealings to iron out.
I just kind of found it weird that we were running around their home with potential lovers in here, and their parents were nowhere to be found.
You also do learn that the older woman is, in fact, Lisa's older sister, and her name is Sandra.
Good to know. Also, I give Reggie the letter.
All right. He takes it and bows slightly. Thank you. Well, have a good day.
Yep. And
Did
now,
you forget to invite me back in? Because I feel like I skipped something.
No, it was mostly... No, we invited you back in at the right time.
All right.
Havin just wanted to know where the parents were. So, similar situation as yesterday. What do you want to do? I'll tell you what happens.
Rainer's just gonna freaking walk the entire freaking day.
You just wandering aimlessly?
Pretty much.
Okay, so
I'll try to be back by curfew.
You, at first, you don't... Roll perception check, actually.
Motherfucker, will these stupid people leave me alone? Wow. 22.
stop copying my rolls.
Hey, it's not an ad.
You notice it's not those with the masks this time, but someone's following you. You aren't ever able to get a good look at them because they always seem to manage to stay just out of direct view. It's always a peripheral that you're able to get glimpses of them. It's an individual, and it's a female. It's human from the looks of it. Darker skin.
Give 30 more seconds on your Peloton. Give it your best morning,
And
noon, or night. Give it up.
she doesn't seem to try and be gaining on you. She always just seems to be falling from a distance. About 30 feet.
I'm gonna try to walk down an alleyway. Like away from the people.
This holiday,
You do.
give the gift of Peloton.
You currently face a stone wall.
So I hit a dead end.
Yeah.
I turn around. Is she fucking hiding behind the corner?
Roll perception check.
Save up to 50% off this week on our biggest selection ever. From trees to trimmings to ornaments.
You see the same woman walk past. She doesn't even seem to notice you. Turns out it was paranoia.
current treatment hasn't worked
I'm
well
punching
enough.
a wall.
Roll an attack.
For a change. Ask your doctor about Entivio. The biological.
You make a good-sized dent in the wall.
Entivio works at the site of inflammation in the GI tract and is clinically proven to help many patients achieve both symptom relief and remission. Infusion and serious reactions can happen during.
I just keep walking.
Entivio may increase risk
All
of
right.
infection, which can be serious.
You wander aimlessly.
Rare, serious,
Don't take in many sights.
by a virus may be possible. This condition has
Just
not been reported with Entivio.
walk.
Tell your doctor if you have an infection, experience frequent infections.
You managed to clear your head a bit.
symptoms or sores.
At the very least,
If you're
you've
used to your
worked
own
through
treatment,
things a bit better.
ask your
You're still not over it, but
Entivio.
Hmm.
Entivio, relief and remission within reach.
I'm all about my bed.
This mattress is
Jing, what do you want to do?
When I get in, I literally
Well,
America loves the
apparently here is causing a lot of issues, so I'm gonna go to my house and introduce Lucy to all the people.
bed hugs my body.
You do.
Today is gonna be
You thankfully don't run into your sister.
Oh shit.
plus a free pillow worth
Do not.
Well, she might be somewhere down the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also don't run into your dad.
Hey, don't you own like 20 grand in gold or something?
No.
Anyways, you do that. Lucy at first was a bit shy, but she eventually started opening up, and a different person. She was almost a different person. Sorry, did I cut out there for a sec?
Just a little bit.
Hey,
All right. Anyways, is that your day, or do you want to do anything else?
Yep. That's my day.
All right, so
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Elizabeth, what do you want to do?
Oh, we also don't go back. We kind of stay at the house.
All right.
Necro, are you doing anything today, or are you secretly typing the DM?
Oh, I need to find a job. I need money.
Do you look for an adventure as well?
Are there any odd jobs around here?
Roll an investigation check.
It's nice to see you finally getting into the spirit of things.
I once went to an ice hotel in Norway. It was like an elegant fairy tale.
You can't find any.
With some of that
Most of the jobs would require consistent employment, and
yes.
most of them don't really suit your skill set.
And I must say, I'm concerned. First, the snowman bounces, and the hot cocoa forest.
Well, let's go sightseeing then.
All right.
something
Go sightseeing,
room for the new elements.
and
Generous.
you just
But it was for a reason. So this year's Winter Wonderland.
you roll a perception check just to see if you find anything new.
Fantastic.
Nope.
The coffee spectacular.
Nothing.
Here to follow. It's
Meanwhile,
sorry, I was looking through some notes. Anyways,
Back at the Hall of Justice.
Elizabeth, do you go back to the house or do you just?
I'll go back to the house.
Okay. Jing, do you want to go back to the house or are you staying at Nightingale's house?
We're staying at the Nightingales.
Okay. Rainer, I assume you just go back to the house at some point?
I said I'd be back by curfew or whatever that
Right.
curfew was.
Yeah, so you mostly just wander aimlessly and eventually make your way back.
Rainier is becoming very emo, you guys.
Emo with sporadic bursts of happiness.
Hi, excuse me.
But,
How can I help you?
Hi,
so,
my
do
name is Rachel.
you want to try to do anything or do you just
Well, nice
want to
meet
have
you.
dinner and then go to bed?
I'm Dennis, and she's right over there. Follow me.
Thank you.
Mark, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Rainer will, before dinner starts, he will attempt to try to soothe himself with like playing his tribe songs on his lyre. Try to calm himself down.
Roll a performance check. You remember a good portion of them. Do you remember how to play them? It is soothing. It reminds you of better times. And it's nice. Elizabeth, what are you doing?
I miss all my kids.
What was that?
That's the TV.
Yeah, sorry, that's me.
Jing, you do realize by staying at your house, you're going to have dinner with potentially all your family members there?
No. Potentially.
Just because you haven't seen your other family members in the city doesn't mean they're not there. Again, this place is huge.
Regret.
I just like to imagine in this case, like Jing just is sort of playing with Lucy, and then all of a sudden it's just like he perks up. Oh, God. Are you praying to your God?
I am.
What for?
Avoidance.
For no arguments at all.
You
I brought
hear
Lucy here
a
to
voice
be
in the
peaceful.
very back of your head that you know for a fact isn't of the gods, but is rather just one of weary knowledge that's not likely.
Great.
So, Elizabeth and Rainer, you two just decide, yeah, well, Elizabeth, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll go converse with Lisa.
This about...
Just in general.
Okay. Lisa's... Oh, Elizabeth, it's great to see you.
Been a while.
Yeah. How have you been?
Other than in prison, very well.
But, well, I suppose it's great to see you again, honestly. I was worried.
Also,
Well, as you probably don't know, but Reina got me this gift before we left the island. It was a journal, and he had one too, and the two of us could talk to one another through it. But then, and we'd been talking most every night with one another, but then all of a sudden he didn't respond. And it was. I knew you three were a group, so if he had gone missing, you two did as well. And I didn't want to lose some of the only friends I've had.
I already knew about that notebook and the message you left behind.
Mm-hmm. And she immediately starts. She immediately.
How would you know
looks a bit
about what
panicked.
message she left behind? Did you look into my notebook?
Yes.
What message?
You don't read Elven.
Yeah. Don't worry your pretty little head.
That does very little to assure her.
You should really say something or somebody else takes them away.
And at that mention, her demeanor shifts.
Oh, fuck.
You don't think I don't know that? It's just... What if he doesn't return my feelings?
For that, he has a problem with women, right?
Yes, you told me back when you first enlisted my help simply to make life harder for him, as you said.
Yeah, I've been trying to cure him, but they just say some outside force is preventing me.
The hell does that mean?
Roll a deception check.
I'm a good liar.
Yeah, she believes it. She rolled a 2. Anyways. Well, and I appreciate it, but what if I mess it up? What if he doesn't like me that way?
Yeah, he still has that blanket that you gave him.
At that, her face goes beet red. He does?
Yep.
Her face. She gets giddy. And, yeah. Takes her a few minutes to recover, but... Anyways... So, there's actually something I was asking for you. I wanted your help with.
What would that be?
There's this potion that might help. And she takes down a book. And she flips to a page. Inside is The first thing that strikes you is the illustration that accompanies it. It's of a small vial, shaped as the heart, with a small plume of smoke, with that same heart-shaped bubbles forming from it.
Motherfucker, did you just come up with this after reading that potion exists?
No, this was in the works for a while.
Hold on. Sorry, there's somebody at the door.
So, Elizabeth, on the page before you is something known as the filter of love.
And this is for?
It, in essence, it's a potion that, when ingested, makes a person develop romantic feelings for the first person they see. Maybe if I get him to drink this, or maybe if I drink it, then I'll be able to finally bridge the gap.
And where did you find this potion?
It's rather pricey, but it's not that hard to create. It would be far easier simply to buy it.
I'm letting you know now, I do not have that much money.
I do.
Just tell me the location and I'll go buy it.
That'll take a few days. Not many people would like to advertise selling something like this, you know?
I understand.
So yeah, be in touch. And at this point, the clock starts chiming to indicate it's about 7. Oh, it's almost time for dinner.
Guess so.
She stands up and starts getting things ready.
I'll point this out there. Not happy at how things are developing right now. I'm actually wondering what Elizabeth's actual plan was for everything, and I'm hoping it's better than Lisa's plan.
Elizabeth, you think we should just tell him what it was at this point, since you're not going through with it?
Yeah.
Essentially, what she said was she was trying to help you get over your fear of women, when in reality it was just her seeing how you would react to having different women flirt with you. Remember that whole group thing that kept happening?
I remember that.
That was Elizabeth orchestrating
I had a feeling it was because of Elizabeth. That's not a shocker.
Well, now you know it was. Anyways.
Could have been much better if I haven't gone to that one person.
Though how this one might develop might be even better. Anyways. Haven, roll a d20 for me.
Come on, sister.
Just straight D20.
Just a straight d20.
You can just hit the icon in there.
Other way around. /R 1d20.
Natural 20.
Thankfully, your dad actually shows up. Your sister doesn't.
Thank God. Whew.
Luckily. Yeah, no. Dinner was surprisingly nice. Even your mother and father didn't argue that much for once. And it was a pleasant dinner. Your dad met Lucy, and he was excited to finally have a grandkid.
Then he told her she's adopted.
Yeah, and honestly, the look of it's not betrayal or disappointment, more just it's not disappointment in you, it's disappointment more that he doesn't have a grandkid to coddle.
He still has the grandkid to coddle. Just it's not his blood.
But yeah, no, at first he's upset that and it kind of almost breaks your heart. So you just say you can still cuddle her, and then he immediately beams up, almost as if a little kid. And yeah, dinner for you was pleasant. It was nice.
A nice dinner? Yes!
A nice argument-free dinner.
Sweet. I love it.
Anyways, back to the others. Yeah, the dinner between you guys it's all right. Nothing big. Nothing too bad, honestly. Mind if we end it at 9:50 tonight?
9:50?
Yeah, just 10 minutes early. Anyway.
Never hit 9:50 except the first session.
Anyways. Yeah, well, I'm trying to push it back to 10 again. Getting used to my sleep schedule. So, night comes. Rainer. No one visits you. Thankfully. And so, same arrangement as yesterday. Morning comes. Rainer, you had a night of sleep again. The nightmares are a bit. The nightmares are still there, but not nearly as vivid, nor as long. Rather than long, continuous bouts of reliving those horrid memories, it's bursts, images. It might be worse than what you remember from last night, but it's far less of it. Eventually you awaken. You don't feel good in your rest, but you most certainly feel rested, at least.
Whew.
Anyways, another day of this. The butler asks Elizabeth and Raina. Reginald does ask you to come back a bit earlier today, around 4. And if you can get a hold of Jing, tell him that as well.
I got nothing better to do. I'll go look for Jing and tell him.
All right. Roll an investigation check. You ask around and pretty quickly find the guy. He's exiting a different house with Lucy in tow and seems fairly pleased.
Hey.
What is up?
You need to come back by 4 today.
Okay.
I don't know. They just want us to be back by that time, I guess. Rainer is now a little depressed, but not freaking emo this time today.
Yeah, no. You're just a bit under the weather.
Why don't you come inside? Come inside.
Why?
Because I need somebody to keep Lucy company while I talk to my mother and father.
Alright. Would you like that, Lucy? DM? I asked Lucy if she would like that.
She nods her head yes excitedly. Are you okay? Are you better?
Better.
She hugs your leg. And she sort of just forcefully says, "Get better." And, like, pouts.
I laugh a little.
She kind of grips your hand and excitedly pulls you into the house.
Very strong.
Yeah, she is actually surprisingly strong for her size. You also notice she's starting to get into a bit of her body's starting to fill out a bit. Not like
she's
overly,
no longer
but
emaciated.
Yeah, she's still slightly emaciated, but at the very least, she's starting to get back to a healthy figure. At the very least, you can no longer see her ribcage painfully outlined.
Not that I would anyway, because she's in proper clothes now.
Yeah. But at the very least, it's not hanging off of her like it used to. But yeah.
So here's a quick question from Rainer. Is Lisa's house bigger than Jing's?
Yes. By a full floor. So, Rainer, roll a performance check. You do manage to keep Lucy entertained for the most part. There are a few times when you're sort of grasping at straws and Lucy actually suggests a few ideas for games, but for the most part, yeah, you take the lead. The only thing is, whenever you quickly learned though that hide and seek is not a good idea, as you can never find her for some reason.
Well, no crap, she can turn invisible.
Well, no. She's just good at hiding for some reason.
she lived in a dungeon forever. I'm not arguing.
Yeah, but so Jing, you wanted to talk with your parents?
Yes.
So where do you want to talk to them?
But as far away from Lucy and Rainer as possible.
Okay. You take them to one of the studies at the farther end of the house. They're both enter inside, and you shut the door behind them. You get the distinct contrast between your mother and father. Your father is a man who just exudes a sort of warmth, the kind you yourself sort of possess in the same in the same way, which contrasts starkly with your mother, which is a much colder, calculating one. To basically put it simply, your father is just happy to be here. Your mother is trying to figure out why she's here.
You should introduce Elizabeth to her. I bet they get along great.
But I showed them the scroll, and I hold it to the candlelight.
Just another thing, the ink, once exposed to candlelight, just became visible. It's not like still hidden or anything.
Oh, okay. I showed them the scroll, and I read to them what it says. And I was like, and I tell them what happened, and I'm trying to figure out who it is because I'm going to murderize them.
Your father is fully on board with this. Your
And
mother,
I
on
look
the
at
other
my
hand,
mother.
it's hard to get a read. Roll a perception check.
Oh joy. Perception.
Your mom's put on the stoic face again. You can't tell anything. But it seems also your dad's been put off by this a bit.
So
Takes you a few minutes.
I was like, so do y'all know of any cults looking for, worshipping spiders?
What I'm aware of.
Not to mention, they also killed the entirety of Lucy's village. So, yeah, they need to die painfully and slowly. Explaining to them why that this is so important.
Father, well, of course it's important. I mean, they tried to kill you, and they flat out lied to you about what was going on. I fully support this, and I will help in whatever way I can.
You have to be quiet over there, mother.
Well, I fully agree that this man does deserve to be punished. I do not believe that simply running in gung-ho, trying to murder whoever it was, will get you anything. If anything, it might make things worse.
I mutter under my breath, it gives me his soul.
The fuck?
Regardless. Hey, you're not there. No metagaming. And regardless, while your father might have said it in a rather obtuse way, I do agree. You should pursue this individual. However, I don't believe killing him would be the best idea.
I'm down with torture, drowning.
That's a method
There's
of
far
killing.
worse things than death.
Drowning is killing.
You know what I mean. Waterboarding. Suffering in general.
Well, it appears I can't convince you otherwise, then, much like your father, I will help.
Cool. Can I tell them the general location of where we came out?
The father's like eagerly writing down everything he can. The mother's just nodding along. The mom's just nodding along. After you end, very well. We'll look into it quietly. And once we have something, we'll contact you.
Cool.
Your father gets up and before you can, do you leave the room or?
I was just waiting for like my dad to leave because my mom is more tactical expertise than he is.
Your dad does get up, hugs you, picks you up for kind of a bear hug, and squeezes you a bit tightly. It's good to see you again. Maybe next time. Send a bit of a warning. I was a bit disappointed when I wasn't able to meet you your first day here.
I'll try to next time. I didn't even know I was gonna be here. It's all thanks to my friend's girlfriend, lover thing. It's complicated.
Well, what isn't complicated is that they brought you back. It's good to have you, even if it might be temporary. That he hugs you again, pats you on the shoulder, and then leaves.
So, how do you think we should approach this? Because I just like to bust things up.
That would be something we leave to the end. She points to one of the seats. Sit down for a moment.
I do.
And the next few hours, you two talk strategy. We'll end it off there for the night. Great session, guys.
Oh my god, you're digging up so much shit.
I am digging up so many skeletons. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week.